church family. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you have watched my channel in the past, I welcome you back. It has been a while since I recorded, almost 1 year, and I wanted to record, that's the truth. I wanted to record more videos, thinking about making videos every single day. But I want to talk about this also, and a few things as well that have happened in my life in 2025, and I feel like I need to say I'm sorry that I didn't record more, because I know that my introduction for the last video that I have, welcome to my channel, which I guess posted in February, I posted it, February of 2025. I said that I will make videos and have so many topics to talk about, but I feel it's been more of a challenge. And has anybody else been feeling it? One of the greatest enemies that we can have is discouragement, right? In the days we're living in, with everything happening in the world and in our own personal lives, I feel the intensity, I feel the pressure, and I feel the stress. How about you? But it's not all bleak. There are some positive things as well that have happened. So let's get into it. I'm gonna first talk about the challenging things that have happened. I've gone through a personal challenge. This is towards the end of 2024. I've had some household changes that were both good and needed, necessary, as well as challenging. This has been since 2023. I got glasses, which I needed, small prescription, but they really help because I can see perfect, and I'm no longer dizzy because of squinting to see even the laptop or notes, and that's great. I also want to talk about something that I have put off making a video about, and maybe more detail I may make in another video, I don't know, it depends, only if it may be a huge request or something. Like that is if like 10 people ask for it, but I hardly have any comments on my channel. So anyway, I have had a health challenge that I discovered in August of 2021. So it has been nearly 4.5 years ago, right? Because I'm recording this at the end of January 2026. And at first I told my husband I didn't want to tell my mom, because I knew what she was gonna say. Do whatever the doctors tell you. So anyway, I'm just gonna go really quickly over it, not because I want to, but because somebody out there may receive some comfort or may be encouraged, because I know a lot of things most people that go through life in general don't talk about it, you know. They don't share positives and negatives, and it's needed, you know. Even just, you know, I realize it's not so much about how much information that I give, but just the fact that I show my face and I talk to you, which I'm in front of a camera, but I know that there's going to be somebody watching, and a video can be passed on to somebody. If you're not the one that needs it, you could pass it on, or you could just, if you need to talk to someone about it, look, I found this video, somebody had this challenge, and at the very least it'll just help reduce stress, because there's so much stress and fatigue we're each dealing with in these end times that, I was just thinking about it these days. Even if, I won't think it'll make a difference, just the fact that I'm in front of the camera, it'll just help encourage one heart. And of course it's usually multiple hearts, but it makes such a difference, because it's like it makes everything warmer and more compassionate, in this, I'm in Ontario, Canada, so we have like a storm right now that 40 plus centimeters of snow, the most serious in 42 plus years. In over 4 decades we haven't seen anything like it. So we need warmth, right? We need compassion, we need the divine love of God, of Jesus, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, more than ever. And anyway, it was a lump in my right breast, and it was uneven, and I just felt something wasn't okay. It was like stage 3 that I discovered it. I did not have regular checkups because they were kind of uncomfortable, and so that's kind of a mistake. I didn't go regularly for checkup, so if you can avoid it, try to go for checkup if you can, if you have the means, the option, the possibilities, opportunities. And from about September or October of 2021 up until January, February, about 4 to 5 good months, I had testing, all kinds, dozens of needles in me, and I'm not afraid of needles, but just multiple testing. They confirmed it was malign, and so they needed to get to serious treatment. And so one thing that I remember I really didn't want to do was chemo, and I had to go through chemo. That was, I thought at first it was like, I thought I was gonna have surgery first and then chemo, so I was like, okay. And the surgeon, then it was a male surgeon, and he retired right then, like just as he took me on, he retired. I guess they didn't tell me, but I perceive he was really tired, so he just had to, because he might have just passed out or something. And this was a good hospital here that we have, like it's not far from my home, and so it changed with he was Asian, and then changed with a female, a black lady, and she was significantly younger and really good at it. And so I was thinking, but then my oncologist said, no, you gotta do chemo first. And I didn't want to do it, but my mom, she would have none of it. As her and I usually fight about stuff, just argue, and I accepted it because what did I know, because I said, well, God can heal me, yes. But she told me, there was a faithful woman that we knew a long time ago, a friend of my parents, involved in their business at the time, and she was really faithful, and she had I like to call it rebellious cells, but breast cancer, and she believed God was gonna heal her, and she was faithful, but she didn't, so she ended up passing on, and we had confirmation that she went to heaven, but she left a daughter and a husband. Her husband didn't believe as much as her, but she left them behind. And she had a vision, like God showed her that she saw her dad, who had passed on before, and it was heavenly, it was so beautiful, but it was good for her. But she left behind her young daughter, who was a teenager. So if we can prolong our life, the moral of the story is we should, right? So I decided I'm gonna go through with it, and so I ended up having chemo, 4 rounds of 2, combination of 2, and then another 4 rounds of another one, once every 2 weeks, 8 rounds total, from March until June. And smack in the middle of it, I got COVID, and I was afraid of getting COVID. That's exactly what happened. But chemo was so hard, it's like, feel like you get run over by a bus. It was really hard. And I don't want to talk about it in this video, but maybe I'll mention in another video. The fatigue, the loss of strength, loss of immunity, that hit me hard. But they had things in place, like they gave me injection to help with my bones producing white blood cells and stuff. But also a constipation. These was the two major side effects. They had a pill for nausea, so it wasn't, but the weakness and the constipation, those were the worst. So anyway, I'm gonna get into detail. And then after chemo, waited a month. So end of July, I had simple mastectomy. That means completely take out my right breast. Because at the beginning, while they were doing the testing, said, well, maybe lumpectomy. The first surgeon told me that retired, or maybe you're gonna have a lumpectomy. Well, ended up being complete because I discussed it and I worked out the cut, with the surgeon, doctor lady. She wanted to try something new, cut it vertically, but I said, no, I saw it on the internet, it's horizontal, so she listened to me. Did it like diagonally, more horizontal. And I waited a month, and after the surgery, the surgery went well. I had nausea. It was the best sleep of my life when they put me under. I remember after I got up and recovered from the nausea, which took me about an hour to recover. My mom was there with me. I realized, like, wow, I feel so rested. Like, it was just, I've never had that kind of sleep, so that was a good, and I was really nervous before it. Like, my heart was so do. They wanted to drug me. I'm like, no, not until I talk to my surgeon. We haven't determined how the cut is gonna go. So I was waiting with my heart being like 1,000 beats per minute. And then after the surgery, again, a month to recover. Just 1 month between each treatment. And then I had radiation 15 rounds, like Monday to Friday. It was like last day of August, and so it went into like about mid-September. And then in October I began the hormonal treatment, which was tamoxifen. Then after about, I think, a year, switched to another pill. This is pills, anastrozole to induce menopause, and tamoxifen is to induce menopause, anastrozole is for post-menopause. And then have injection Zoladex in the belly, and Zometa through the IV. Like the chemo, but it's not chemo, it's Zometa to prevent rebellious cells, cancer, from being in the bones. So I'm continuing to be on the hormonal treatment, and it is not easy. The fatigue is always with me, not because of the treatment, as it's been since 2025. Right before I discovered the lump, all of a sudden I wasn't dancing as much, because I would dance 2 to 4 times a week. Like, I would be like quite active, and it just kind of hit me in 2025. Our bodies are changing, right? Not everyone's gonna live to 80, 90, 100 plus years. We're all different. We're all different. And so fatigue and weakness, my usual state, and also hot flashes due to the treatment, the hormonal treatment, giving me hot flashes is difficult, feeling like boiling from the inside. And to talk about the personal challenge I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the end of 2024, I made a mistake and got myself in some trouble, and and 6 other people were immediately affected and in suspense, and so that caused some stress for them. That's what happens to vulnerable people. So I don't like to mention this, but I'll need to make another video about this very thing, the topic being vulnerable persons with heavier lots, and more disadvantaged persons in life or in society. And I myself fall into this category. I have a harder lot. I need to be protected from the enemy within and the enemy without, from all enemies, and it's just much harder. But we can get into that in another video if hopefully I get to make it. And also, I found it more challenging to take the time to sit down and make notes and record. Actually, before I decided to film this evening, this late evening, you know, I was gonna listen to some music and worship and pray, but I'm like, you know what? I just feel that, you know, if we're not obedient, if we don't answer the call, it's not God, right, that moves away from us. We move away from Him. And it can affect us, you know, it can affect our mood. This is how we get into depression. And so we can't afford to not be obedient, right? Because it's not about us, it's not about me, it's about speaking to you, speaking to, you know, you if you come across this video, or if you pass it on, you know, if it's passed on to somebody else, to make a difference, right? And anyways, there are also a few positive things that have happened in 2025, besides getting glasses, okay? Small prescription, like I said, it's a small one, but it really helps. It's not all been negative or challenging. And I wanna now talk about this. Number one, I started a small YouTube channel in my own native language, in Romanian. So I have a couple videos, literally like 2 public and recorded others, and I need to finish editing and keep recording, post them and record more. Pray for me. I was thinking about it for a while, and I'm glad I finally started it. And number 2, I cleaned up my nutrition. This was a challenge for me all my life, you know, the 7 deadly sins, so one of them being gluttony. I was chubby only one time in my life, in 2010, and I also had depression because of it. I was never that heavy. You know, when I was younger, in my like early 20s, just after high school I started college, I was about 50 to 52 kilos, you know, and now I'm around 58, 60. So I'm a little bit heavier. But in 2010, when I was chubby, I was like 69, 70, you know, that's too much. So, because I remember I was eating all the time, I was just, you know, struggle with depression throughout my life and sometimes. And so this has been a challenge. I pretty much cleaned out processed sweets and processed snacks. I've eaten them ever since we came to Canada, because in my country, Romania, was communist, right? You didn't have Coca-Cola and chips, and now you do, you know, maybe not as much as here, but you do have a lot of junk. But you actually had healthier food. Maybe you couldn't find food always, but whatever you found was pretty healthy. And so people were healthier as a result. And here, freedom, right? Freedom, and a lot of stuff, you know, most of it kills you. So we really have to be intentional. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about this, but I gave it up. And for example, like I told my husband, look, I really can't have it. I personally go into depression, you know, and at first when I told this to some family, they're like, oh no, it's in your head, it's in your head. I'm like, it's not in my head. I am in a very positive mood when I begin eating it, and 2 minutes later, like basically from the moment I put it in my mouth, and we're talking like 30 seconds to a minute, all of a sudden, you know, and then it's just downhill from there. Like usually if I eat it like 2 or 3 days, you know, like, or over 2, 3, 4 meals in a row, and I don't balance with protein, like, so I told my husband, look, if we don't have it in the home, I'm not gonna eat it, so don't bring it home, you know, because sometimes, you know, so anyway, it's under control. We don't like cakes and stuff that has all the sweetest and the most, you know, chocolate combination, like Twix bars and Mr. Big and all that. I don't know if they have Mr. Big anymore, but caramel, you know, I haven't eaten those in recent years, but when I was younger I used to, and you know, it catches up. In like, I wish I did this like by latest 35, you know, and I'm 44, you know, just turned 44 this month. And so you know, if I could go back, or if I'd give advice, like if you're sensitive, like give it up when you're 30, like maximum 35, like eat it more rarely. It makes a difference whether you eat it you know, once a year, twice a year, like every 6 months, every 3 months, every month, every week, every other day, or every day, or every meal. Everything counts. If we eat something once in a while, we can have almost anything. We can have a lot of things if we eat every 3 months or less often. So frequency, right, matters so much. And even then, balance with some protein. Eat some protein, eat chicken, eat fish, eat some beef first. Clean animals. Okay. So that was great, cleaned up my nutrition, and I'm going easy, like I buy gluten-free bread on gluten, dairy, and meat, even though I still eat. I'm still like light omnivorous diet. Some meals are vegetarian and some are vegan, but I still have eaten chicken or turkey or beef or fish. Number 3, I'm a little better with sleep, sleeping earlier and awaking earlier. Some days, not daily yet, but I'm working towards it. And I'm glad for that, because there's something like the Lord, right? Personal disciplines. I don't have a job. I don't have to go to work, you know, because I can't, because I'm in that category of vulnerable persons, and I can't do what a lot of other people can do. And so it's up to me, like I don't have something or someone, right, to make me to be disciplined. I have to choose it. So in a way it's harder, because it kind of leaves it all up to you. And number 4, I began to pray a bit more consistently from my heart. Like not as a chore, as a routine as I was doing up until now. Like, you know, years back I used to, you know, be more consistent with prayer, with reading, but ever since like my testing in 2021, and then treatment beginning with 2022, and up until now, I kind of like, it's been a challenge, and other changes, like I mentioned, in my household dynamic changed, and all these things kind of, they were harder to handle, so they kind of, it tends to throw you off course if you're not careful. It's like there's this force comes, and you have to stand your ground. You have to press in. And so God has been calling me to pray, and recently, like just this past week, just pray without ceasing, pray continually. And I want to make videos about prayer very soon. And I know that this can be challenging, especially when we don't feel that we need to pray. But when we feel we need to pray, it's kind of like too late, you know, we're waiting until it's too late. So anyway, that's a good one. Began to pray more consistently and from the heart, just be true. And it doesn't even have to involve words. I want to make that video. It's very important. Number 5, I've identified an addiction. No, not alcohol or drugs, or I most likely would not be alive today. But just being on the laptop. You know, I don't have an addiction with my phone, right? But with my laptop, if I, you know, go on to whatever, email or log in, run an errand on there, you know, I can get so caught up in reading the news, and I just, you know, that on Firefox, right, articles, news, or about celebrities, right, that's another thing I always read, and then I check out on Wikipedia what it says, and I always like to read about personal life. You know, not so much their achievements, I'm always like personal life, I always go to see, okay, what is their faith, what do they believe, you know, because we know them. And so also addictive, like scrolling shorts and videos, you know, we're just on and on and on. So this doesn't happen every day, but weekly or whenever I log in, I'm working to control it by petitioning, asking God for help, but in the end it is a choice, right? It's not something that I actually can't stop. So what do? Well, just take a step back, you know, minimize, you know, my window, right? The browser, just minimize it and just take a few breaths, walk around the room, and then, okay, do I still want to, you know, do I still want to watch? Okay, yes, okay, so it's about working towards it intentionally. It can be done. I know lots of people are struggling with phone or laptop, just, if it's not social media, well, I don't have addiction to social media, but just reading stuff to gain knowledge, it can be too much and can stay up too late. So I've been working to control that, and I'm doing a little bit better. Again, I need to do better. And number 6, I have reduced another addiction, which was talking to myself. Yeah, I mean, I say everyone talks to themselves. It's one thing to say, oh, that was something, to blurt out a phrase. And it's another thing to talk as if you're talking to a person, telling somebody what you wouldn't tell them in real life. And keep saying it, and then half an hour later you're still talking to that person, or you've already talked to 5 people. And those actual 5 people in real life never heard a word, and I think that's something that began when I was around 14, as I recall in my life, just as a way to cope with anxiety, as a way to express myself when I couldn't express myself to people, and I found it calming. But it's almost like a drug, because one, it's like instead of praying and opening to God and meditating about that situation, it's like it's okay to talk a little, but then if it goes on too much, you can kind of start to believe what you're saying, and that may not be God's will for you to always explain it. It's a lot of times He wants to work on us, so that can be really not good, like for the brain and for our soul. And also it wastes a lot of time. So those are 2 big negatives. One, we're affecting our brain and our soul, and we can get to believe, even though I'm speaking the truth, okay, and my point, but God may not want us to speak. A lot of times He wants us to be silent, as a fool expresses his or her own heart, a fool. So if you have this issue, you need to stop doing that, because the Lord put it years back that I need to cut this out. And just pray instead, be still, right? Be still and know that He's God. Okay, so these are the positives, right? To summarize, started a YouTube channel in my language. That was number 1. Number 2, cleaned up my nutrition. Number 3, I'm a little better with sleep, but I still need to be better significantly. Number 4, began to pray more consistently from my heart, and I pray I will continue. Number 5, identified the addiction of my laptop, right? Reading knowledge to gain knowledge, but staying too long, or movies. I watch a 2-hour movie in 6 hours, because I spend quality time with the actors. When I watch, I pause, I go back, I look at their expressions, I look at the scenery. I'm just so involved when I love movies, so I don't watch as much as I used to, but I'm so involved, and yeah, I would not make a good movie partner, because you're like, I need to go to sleep, I need to wake up in the morning, and I'm there, like I said, I'll there all night if I watch a movie. I'm there for like 3 times as long as the movie, at least. And I do research, a word I don't know, I research it out, That's how I watch a movie. And number 5, identify the addiction. Number 6, reduce the other addiction, talking to myself. So I guess that's it for now. Okay. I need to keep pressing in, and I'm planning to. And I pray that so will you. I know we live in discouraging times. And maybe I can make a different video talking. I have so much to say. Pray for me. Pray for yourself. Pray for your family. Obey the Lord. Come to Him when He calls you. Don't delay. Every day, let's not delay coming to Him. He calls us always for a divine purpose. It's really to save our life and our soul. We can't delay this. It's not a game. I realize just in my mind, it keeps saying, it's not a game. Any one of us could be here today, gone tomorrow, or here now and gone in an hour, or a minute, or in a moment. It's not a game. So keep pressing in with scripture, prayer, healing songs, and obedience in every area of life. Write it down. I wrote some things down. That's, another thing, right? Number 7, I wrote things down again just this past month, beginning with like 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks, and I keep adding, and maybe I don't review daily, but just things that I need to do, and to be more disciplined, and the attitude I need to have. Everything, it's so important, so important. So Let's keep everyone in prayer, beginning with ourselves, our family, our household, our friends, acquaintances, neighbors, and then pray for all believers everywhere, and then for the whole world. Okay? Alright. I'm glad you're watching. Give a like if you liked it, or leave a comment, a relevant comment. What have you been going through? Or what about this video are you thankful that you have heard? Is anything helpful? Anything, if you like. And you're welcome to pass it on to somebody with prayer, with taking it to the Lord first, if you need to. Alright, well, Happy New Year 2026. Yeah, another year has passed. I'm gonna end here. Be blessed.